What's up everyone? Today I'm gonna show you a super quick tutorial on how to access slow motion settings on the Canon XC15. So this camera actually makes it super easy to switch into slow motion, which is a really cool look that hopefully you'll wanna try out yourself. I wanted to show you both how to access these settings and what the result actually looks like. So I went out to the stadium and recorded a student throwing a football. So here's what that looks like played back in normal speed. Now, if you want to film something like that in slow motion, you can go to this menu, which is in the bottom right of the LCD screen here. When you tap on that, you'll see right now we're at a normal recording, so we've got that off button selected. And down at the bottom, you can see the resolution is at 1080p and we're shooting in 24 frames per second. The first thing I'll show you is this at half speed. So if you select that times 1/2, you can see it'll give you a shooting time of 1 minute and a playback time of 2 minutes. At the top, you can tell it's gonna do that by filming at 60 frames per second and then outputting a 29.97 frames per second video. Down at the bottom, you can also see the resolution of that is going to still be at 1080p, which is great. That's the resolution that most of our videos are in, so it looks pretty nice. Here's an example of what that half speed actually looks like. Now, if you want to slow that down even more, there's an option to do quarter speed. So if you just look at that quarter speed, that's going to give us a shooting time of 1 minute and a playback time of 4 minutes. Up at the top, again, you can see that's going to be filming at 120 frames per second, which is really slow, and then it's going to output at about 30 frames per second. The problem with this setting though is down at the bottom, you can see the resolution is now 720p, so a little lower than what we're used to. When you import this footage into a 1080p timeline, it's also going to be a little small. So here's what that quarter speed looks like completely unedited. Now, obviously it doesn't look great with all the black framing around it, so what I've done next is just scale that up 150% so that it takes up the full frame of our 1080p video, but it's not actually 1080p, so the quality of it is a little less. So the last example I'll give you is if you go ahead and film at the half speed, but in post, you go ahead and slow that down even more. So this is what that looks like. The nice thing about this method is that your video is still at 1080p, but the problem is that slow motion is a little more jittery. You can kind of see the edges a little bit more. It's not quite as smooth. So really it's up to you what you think looks best. Personally, I think I like going ahead and using that quarter speed functionality and then just scaling the video up a bit. Whenever you are done filming slow motion clips, it's super important that you go ahead and hit that off button so that it goes back into a normal recording. Whenever you're recording slow motion this way, it's not going to record any audio, and you'll have a really bad time if you go on filming stuff that you think you're gonna get audio on, and then you go back in, import it into your computer, and find that, hey, it's actually in slow motion and there's no audio. It's a bad time. It's happened to me before. So make sure you always click that setting to go back into normal shooting mode. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Slow motion can be a really cool thing to add into some of your videos, so get out there, try it out, and always remember, it doesn't matter if it's perfect, it only matters that you start.
Now looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche, we're on the run, this is what we waited for.